Here are the top stories for today, May 25, 2020. President Duterte wants all OFWs stuck in quarantine centers to be sent back home within a week. PCOO reiterates its commitment to protect media workers amid the COVID-19 pandemic. A pregnant member of the New People's Army reunites with her 3 sons after 9 years. And an online film festival, Stargazing and the diverse Europinoy concert will be launched in Viva Europa 2020. Good day, I'm Rom Dufo. Welcome to PNA Newsroom. Our top story, President Rodrigo Duterte wants all 24,000 overseas Filipino workers stuck in quarantine centers in Metro Manila to be sent back to their respective homes within a week. President Duterte has ordered the Department of Labor and Employment, Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, and the Department of Health to expedite the COVID-19 test results of OFWs so that they could return home. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the agencies may utilize all government resources to transport the OFWs back to their respective provinces. He says the president is hopeful that there would be no longer any OFWs stuck in quarantine centers in Metro Manila within the 1-week deadline he set for agencies.
Inatasan po kaninang 1:30 ng umaga ng ating presidente ang mga otoridad gaya po ng DOLE, ng OWA at ng Department of Health na siguraduhin makakauwi na ang 24,000 na mga OFWs na sa ngayon po ay nag-aantay ng kanilang mga resulta sa PCR swab. Sangayon po sa presidente, binibigyan niya ng otoridad ang lahat ng mga opisyalis ng mga departamento nito na gamitin po ang lahat ng resources ng ating gobyerno, para masiguradong makauwi ngayong linggo ang ating mga kababayan. Ang sabi po ng presidente, kung hindi po sapat ang mga pribadong bus, eroplano at barko, pwede rin pong gamitin ang mga barko at eroplano ng hukbong sandatahan. Sabi rin po ng ating presidente, kinakailangan palawakin po ang kakayahan ng ating mga probinsya na magkaroon ng PCR test para sa ganun po, yung mga susunod na darating na mga OFW ay doon na po sa kanilang mga probinsya mag-quarantine at doon na po sila magpapa-PCR test.
As the country observes Eid'l Fitr, or Festival of Breaking the Fast, top officials from Malacanang urged Muslim Filipinos to keep their faith amid the COVID-19 pandemic. In a statement on Sunday, PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar acknowledged the challenge that comes after the month-long Ramadan fasting, but reminded the Muslim community to keep praising Allah. He emphasized the importance of prayer in strengthening their commitment to Islamic virtues. Andanar also reminded Muslim Filipinos to continue to observe the guidelines of their respective community quarantines and observe physical distancing during their celebration. Presidential Peace Advisor Carlito Galvez Jr. recognized that this year's observance of the holy month of Ramadan has been filled with challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Galvez said the health crisis has tested our resolve as individuals and as a people. He was hopeful that the Muslim community would keep helping and extending their prayers to the people and nation beyond the pandemic. PNP Chief General Archie Gamboa, for his part, said Eid'l Fitr celebration should serve as time to reflect on how to strengthen the bonds of unity and solidarity among Muslims and Christians. He said Eid'l Fitr reminds us not of our differences, but of the ideals and goals that unite us as one people, as Filipinos seeking to rise above difficulties and to triumph in the midst of adversity. He also regretted that we cannot celebrate Eid'l Fitr this year like we traditionally do because of the ongoing health crisis. President Duterte declared May 25 as a regular holiday for the observance of Eid'l Fitr through Proclamation Number 944. Eid'l Fitr is traditionally celebrated by families gathering in large congregation for an Eid prayer to express gratitude to Allah for having been able to perform their personal sacrifices. Amid the prevailing health crisis, the proclamation also reminded the Muslim community to observe community quarantine and safe physical distancing measures. The government is inviting COVID-19 test kit makers to put up manufacturing facilities in the Philippines. DTI Undersecretary Seferino Rodolfo says this supports the national government's push to increase the country's testing capacity for the disease. The government is eyeing to attract investors for both polymerase chain reaction or PCR testing facilities and rapid test kit makers to locate in the country. Current test kit makers from COVID-19 have their facilities in China, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and the US. Rodolfo says at least one rapid test kit maker will likely invest in the Philippines this year. The official is expected to have a meeting with South Korean counterparts next month and will also talk with potential COVID-19 test kit investors. The Philippines is expected to join clinical trials for a vaccine against COVID-19 by the last quarter of 2020. President Duterte expressed optimism over news that some clinical trials for the development of COVID-19 vaccine are showing early promising results. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says we are expecting involvement in the vaccine clinical trials by the last quarter of 2020. The DOST has been tasked to provide guidelines on vaccine clinical trials with the Department of Health, World Health Organization, and Food and Drug Administration. The DOST will also be in charge of identifying the sites, the local institutions, and the Filipino researchers who will be involved in the collaborative trials. President Duterte, in his public address delivered on May 19, sought the immediate purchase of a vaccine for the treatment of COVID-19 once it is available. Meanwhile, the President will also study the proposal of the DOST to reactivate the Pharmaceutical Development Unit at DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute and establish a Virology Institute in the Philippines. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says if the President approves the proposal, the establishment of both research centers could commence this year. The DOST's proposed creation of the research centers is expected to initiate and strengthen local vaccine development toward the country's vaccine self-reliance and self-sufficiency. The DOH and DTI remind the public to strictly implement guidelines on mall operations, and a cease and desist order is issued against Fabunan drug. More on this from Marita Muahe.
With the easing of quarantine restrictions in different parts of the country and reports of shoppers flocking to malls, the Department of Health and the Department of Trade and Industry on Sunday strongly reminded the public and mall operators in the country to strictly implement the official guidelines on mall operations. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire stressed the importance of maintaining the minimum health standards, particularly in public spaces such as malls and department stores, under the modified enhanced community quarantine and the general community quarantine. DTI Undersecretary Ruth Castelo presented the DTI guidelines dated April 30, specifying the measures that need to be established, strictly implemented, and maintained by shopping mall operators under the MECQ and the GCQ. The measures include strict monitoring of foot traffic and enforcing of physical distancing inside mall premises. Air conditioning inside malls are also to be kept at 26 degrees centigrade, and free Wi-Fi for mall goers shall be suspended to discourage people from staying and loitering. In other news, the FDA has issued a cease and desist order against the unregistered Fabunan antiviral injections, which are considered as cure for COVID-19, as they still have not applied for certificate of product registration. On April 22, the palace urged the FDA to study the effectiveness of the Fabunan antiviral injection in curing patients with COVID-19. Earlier, a video about the drug circulated on social media. The video conveyed that Fabunan is a patented antiviral drug against dengue developed by Washington-based Filipino Dr. Ruben Fabunan, and that it is an approved drug and has been proven to be used to treat COVID-19. The FDA warned the public that no drug and vaccine has been licensed specifically for use in COVID-19 treatment. Meanwhile, Senator Christopher Lawrence Go on Saturday reiterated his call to raise the bed capacity and improve the service capabilities of public hospitals. Go stressed the need for a more efficient way of enhancing the capabilities of public hospitals and empowering the DOH to fulfill its mandate of improving healthcare in the country. Go said his Senate Bill 1226, or the proposed DOH Hospital Bed Capacity and Service Capability Rationalization Act of 2019, would give the Health Department the authority to increase the bed capacity and service capability of its retained hospitals and promulgate evaluation and approval guidelines. It will also require DOH to submit to Congress an annual report of hospitals with approved bed capacities, along with the necessary funding requirements. The report will be the Congress basis in including the funding requirements of the hospitals in the Annual General Appropriations Act. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Moahe.
Still to come, PCOO reiterates its commitment to protect media workers amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And the DTI revives its Buy Local campaign to help domestic enterprises. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Para labanan ang banta ng COVID-19 sa ating bansa, mahalaga ang kooperasyon ng bawat isa. Ang pananatili sa loob ng bahay ay isa sa pinakasimple pero pinaka-epektibong paraan para hindi kumalat ang virus. Kunwari, ikaw ang tuldok na ito. Malusog ka at malakas. Lumabas ka ng bahay. Ang hindi mo alam, may nakasalamuha ka ng may COVID-19. Tandaan, mahirap malaman kung sino ang may virus, pero madali itong maipasa sa iba. Pwedeng naipasa na pala niya ang virus sa iyo nung umubo siya o bumahin. O baka naman ay nahawa na dahil humawa kayo sa parehong bagay na kontaminado. Ngayon ay mayroon ka na rin COVID-19. Isa ka ng carrier na makakahawa sa iba. Dahil maaaring ilang araw pa bago lumitaw ang sintomas na ubo, sipon, hirap sa paghinga at lagnat. Pwede ring wala kang nararamdamang sintomas, ngunit nakakahawa ka pa rin. Pag-uwi mo sa bahay, maaari mong mahawahan ang iyong pamilya. Kasama na rito ang lolo at lola mo o ang mga magulang mo na may edad. Sila ang may pinakamahina na depensa laban sa virus. Ang mga may sakit sa puso, diabetes, high blood, at iba pang pre-existing conditions at mga buntis, mahina ang panlaban sa COVID-19. Kapag na-infect ang taong mahina ang immune system, posibleng magkaroon siya ng malalang karamdaman at kailanganing dalhin sa ospital. Sa patuloy na paglabas ng bahay at pagpunta sa pampublikong lugar, tinatayang maaari kang makahawa ng 3 pang tao at sila makakahawa ng mas marami pang iba. 20% ng mga nahawa ay maaaring maospital at dadami ng dadami ito habang mas kumakalat pa ang virus. Bukod sa dumaraming COVID-19 patients, marami pang ibang may sakit ang nasa mga pagamutan. Ang mga pasyenteng malubhang-malubha na ang karamdaman, hindi na maaasikaso. Wala ring lugar para sa mga pasyenteng may ibang karamdaman. Kaya nating iwasan ang patuloy na pagkalat ng COVID-19 kung iisipin natin ang kapakanan ng iba. Kailangan nating isipin at kumilos na parang bitbit na natin ang virus para hindi ito kumalat pa sa iba. Sundin ang social distancing. At hanggat maaari, manatili sa loob ng bahay. Kung talagang kinakailangang lumabas, panatilihin ang 1 metrong layo sa ibang tao. Maging malinis din sa katawan at sa kapaligiran. Parating maghugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. At i-disinfect ang mga bagay na madalas hinahawakan. Ang mahalaga, mapabagal natin ang pagkalat ng COVID-19. Para mas kakaunti ang mga kailangang magpa-ospital at mabawasan ang mga Pilipinong magkakasakit. Magiging epektibo lamang ito kung mananatili tayo sa bahay. Sundin ang social distancing. Isang maliit na sakripisyo para sa buhay ng kapwa nating Pilipino. Tulong-tulong tayo. Let's beat COVID-19.
A recent SWS survey reveals that most Filipinos are worried that anyone in their immediate family might catch COVID-19. In a May 4 to 10 SWS mobile phone survey, which interviewed 4,010 working-age Filipinos nationwide, found that 87% of Filipinos worry that their family member may catch the highly contagious virus, while 13% are not worried about it. Compared to past SWS polls, Worry about catching COVID-19 is greater than worries about catching Ebola at 82% in 2014, swine flu at 82% in 2009, bird flu at 83% in 2006, and 80% in 2004, and severe acute respiratory syndrome at 78% in 2003. The worry about catching the virus hardly varies in ECQ areas at 88% and GCQ areas at 86%. It is higher in Metro Manila and Visayas compared to Mindanao and Balance Luzon. The survey also found that worry about catching COVID-19 is also higher among Filipinos than among Britons, Australians, and Americans, based on similar surveys. As for awareness, nearly all or 94% of Filipinos are aware of the COVID-19 symptoms, most mentioned of which are fever at 87% and cough at 86%. The Presidential Communications Operations Office, or PCOO, has reiterated its commitment to the protection of and welfare of media workers in the country amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Presidential Task Force on Media Security Executive Director Undersecretary Joel C. Eid'l said the PCOO is pushing for the immediate passage of House Bill 2476, or the Media Workers Welfare Bill. Eid'l said HB 2476 will help address the challenges being encountered by newsmen as they perform their duties and responsibilities. He said they are pushing for the Media Welfare Bill that will line up benefits, including salary, that newsmen should also have. Eid'l said he also hopes that it will become one of the priority bills of the Congress and would be enacted as law before the end of the term of President Duterte in 2022. Meanwhile, PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar urged government agencies to allocate funds for advertisement to help media companies survive the economic impact of COVID-19. Andanar, who has been making rounds in the countryside to meet with media organizations, said some media companies in the provinces have reduced pay of their stringers by at least 50%. He said private media's capability to find and disseminate news has been affected due to economic reasons. He also encouraged government media to help their private counterparts in disseminating news and information. The PCOO has been conducting virtual laging handa pressers to serve as source of information on the government's response against the COVID-19 pandemic. The government is reviving the Buy Local campaign amid a different business environment brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez said the campaign aims to promote products and services of domestic enterprises to help them recover from losses during the 2-month lockdown. Lopez said many companies have repurposed their facilities to produce critically needed products such as face masks and other personal protective equipment during the pandemic. According to the Department of Trade and Industry, some distilleries have shifted to producing isopropyl and ethyl alcohol to serve the surging local demand. Garments exporters are now making medical-grade PPE coveralls and face masks, while electronics companies are also producing ventilators. The DTI has reiterated its call to companies that may repurpose their facilities to produce items and facilities critical to the fight against COVID-19. The National Task Force Against COVID-19 aims to increase testing in Cebu to 10,000 tests per day with the addition of new laboratories and strengthening of existing ones. More on this and other news for the provinces from Janice Cave.
The National Task Force Against COVID-19 is setting up more molecular laboratories in Cebu to bolster the capacity here for up to 10,000 tests per day. The national government is on track of increasing the testing capacity at the Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center Subnational Laboratory and the Cebu TB Reference Laboratory Molecular Facility for COVID-19 testing. The NTF is also installing a COVID-19 laboratory at the Mactan Cebu International Airport that will test travelers who would come to Cebu. Another laboratory donated by a pharmaceutical company will also be installed at the Cebu Doctors Hospital, while the Philippine Red Cross is also planning to set up a COVID-19 laboratory in Cebu. Meanwhile, the impressive management of the COVID-19 situation in Bohol has won the nod of the national government to make the province one of the models for the reopening of tourism. As proposed by President Rodrigo Duterte, there will be a simulation of business reopening in June after putting in place new protocols. The reopening is targeted at 25% of the business by July. The National Task Force Against COVID-19 said the national government would explore how it can reopen a new avenue for the tourism industry, with Bohol and Baguio as models of the new phase of the economy under the new normal. In other news, a team from Xavier University Ateneo de Cagayan has developed a database that aims to help track and analyze situations of communities vulnerable to the coronavirus disease. The Geospatial Risk Database, or GRID, sets a decision support system in partnership with the DOH Region 10 to manage, prepare, and mitigate the pandemic's impacts in the region. The GRID DSS works best with georeference data, which can be used to immediately locate where a particular parameter, case, or event is. The Xavier University team is mapping out the parameters that exhibit potential COVID-19 risks and impacts in the city. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
After 2 months of being locked down due to the stringent quarantine protocols, 57 individuals from Cebu who availed of the Balik Probinsya Bagong Pag-asa program have been sent home to Mindanao on Sunday. Assistant Secretary John G. Gonzalez of the Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas says the stranded individuals include students who are taking reviews and blind massage therapists. The offices of Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte, Senator Bongo, and Presidential Assistant for the Visayas Michael Lloyd Dino organized the repatriation of efforts. The Regional Joint Task Force CV Shield issued the tribal authority for 57 individuals, while the DOH Central Visayas provided the certifications stating they are coronavirus negative. DSWD 7 Regional Director Rebecca Gaimala on Sunday distributed 5,000 pesos worth of cash aid to 24 individuals. Super Shuttle Ferry carried all the 57 passengers for free. Up next, a pregnant member of the New People's Army reunites with her 3 sons after 9 years. And an online film festival, Stargazing, and the diverse Euro-Pinoy concert will be launched in Viva Europa 2020. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Kakagaling ko lang ng grocery. Siyempre, hindi ko hahayaan na pumasok ang COVID-19 sa bahay at mapahamak ang pamilya ko. Kaya iiwan ko ang sapatos ko sa labas. At ngayon, maghuhugas ako ng kamay ng 20 seconds. O ayan, wala na ang virus. Tandaan, buhay ng pamilya natin na nakasalalay. Let's heal as one.
Alam niyo ba na pumapasok ang COVID-19 sa ating katawan sa pamamagitan ng mata, ilong at bibig? Kaya lagi kaming conscious dito sa bahay kapag umuubo kami. Lagi kaming naghuhugas ng kamay in 20 seconds. Pag lumalabas kami, lagi namin suot ang mask. Lagi lang natin tatandaan mga mamshi. Buhay ng pamilya natin ang nakasalalay dito. Let's heal as one.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
A pregnant member of the Communist New People's Army has been reunited with her 3 sons 9 years after she left them in the care of her family. 38-year-old Apay, along with 18-year-old Wena, another pregnant colleague, surrendered to the Army's 23rd Infantry Battalion on May 16. A civilian tip-off led the military to an NPA supporter in Sitio Cabalalahan, Barangay Ginabsan, Buena Vista, Agusan del Norte. Apay said she joined the communist rebel movement in 2006 and acted as a medic for 13 years. She thanked the Army and the government for facilitating the meeting with her children. She said the military's excellent treatment of her pregnant colleague was contrary to the claims of the NPA, whose cadres would regularly frighten them of human rights abuses. 23rd Infantry Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Francisco Molina reiterated his call to remaining rebels in the area to consider the government's peace offer and return to their families. Unlike the past 2 years, commemorating the anniversary of the Marawi siege this year is different because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This year, only 25 soldiers attended the wreath-laying on Saturday, including the 2 flag bearers and a priest. 103rd Infantry Brigade Commander Colonel Jose Maria Cuerpo led the troops as they remembered the sacrifices of the heroes who fought to liberate Marawi City from the clutches of the Dawla Islamiyah Mauti group. It only took the soldiers 10 minutes to lay wreaths and flowers and recite the prayers at the Heroes' Wall inside the brigade headquarters in Campo Aranao. Cuerpo called on the patriotic spirit of all Maranaos to do their part and help maintain the peace enjoyed today. In the last 2 years, the local government units of Marawi and Lanao del Sur and Task Force Bangon Marawi led the commemoration of the siege with various and grand activities. Marawi City is still imposing General Community Quarantine or GCQ, which prohibits mass gatherings. The European Union launched today its first ever virtual cultural fair featuring an online film festival, stargazing, and the diverse Euro-Pinoy concert. 11 European multi-awarded full and 8 short films will be made available free and subtitled in English until June 18 via Festival Scope. The Euro-Pinoy concert is set on May 29 at 8 p.m. to be live-streamed at the EU in the Philippines Facebook page and twitch.com. Lovers of poetry are also in for a pleasant literary recital featuring diplomats from the European community on May 30 at 5 p.m. The EU is also leading the Journey to the EU, a children's festival, on June 5 at 10:30 a.m. The EU delegation will also conduct once again its stargazing and moon-gazing event dubbed Ode to the Stars and to the Moon on June 6 at 8 p.m. in cooperation with the Philippine Astronomical Society. Take another look at today's biggest stories. President Duterte wants all OFWs stuck in quarantine centers to be sent back home within a week. PCOO reiterates its commitment to protect media workers amid the COVID-19 pandemic. A pregnant member of the New People's Army reunites with her 3 sons after 9 years. And an online film festival, stargazing, and the diverse Euro-Pinoy concert will be launched in Viva Europa 2020. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags on all our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's a daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from PNA Newsroom. I'm Rom Dulfo. Good day and stay at home.